Life as you've never heard it. This is the Drew Mariani Show on Relevant Radio.
It's 13 before the hour. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. I'm Drew Mariani, joined today by Dr. Grace Voto, and you can check out our article, Sliding Towards Infanticide, coming out later this week. Check back to relevantradio.com, keyword Drew. I'll link to it there. It'll also be in the Washington Times. And Grace, you know, when we talk about this culture that we live in right now, where we have seen not only abortion, but embryonic stem cell research and the killing of the elderly, and you know, this movement even to kind of gender select and a whole lot of other issues when it comes to life. And we see how effective the early church was. I know this is particularly sensitive to you because you and your husband have been, trying for a while to conceive. How do you respond when you see stories like this woman in France arrested for the death of 8 of her own children? She committed infanticide, and you see cases like this over and over again. When you see legislation being put forth, how do you respond from a personal perspective?
You know, Drew, my husband and I have been waiting to adopt a child. We're on 2 years now waiting. I'm about to call the agent and say, I've had it with all the paperwork. Where's my baby? You know, that's what I feel from a personal point of view. And the way that I react is with just sheer horror and disgust and sadness. There is a difference between a woman who, you know, through an act of sheer insanity kills her children, and a state that makes the killing of babies permissible. You know, it's really the latter that angers me even more, because which is why I wrote the piece. We're really creating a society now, going back to the ancient world, where the state is saying it's okay. You know, killing and murder has happened in many different contexts, but in most cases, for centuries, the state has said it's wrong. And what we're seeing with the Obama administration is the state giving approval and funding of it, which is taking the barbarism to a whole new level. And that's why I fear that if we don't act, that barbarism is only going to continue to grow. And from a personal point of view, obviously I cry out in anguish, thinking any one of those children that are being currently killed could be my baby.
Well, I'm going to say to someone who's listening right now, perhaps you're pregnant and you're contemplating abortion. Do not do it. Grace would make a great, great mother. I know she and her husband for a long time have been waiting. So if that's the case, maybe God's speaking to you today. Adoption's a great option. And Grace, who knows who's listening right now? Maybe you know someone who is going through this. Grace, a great Catholic woman, and would make a great, great mother out there.
Oh, you're so sweet. And, you know, you asked me about strategies for trying to prevent abortion. One of the ways we can do it is just individually save one at a time, as previous Christians saved one slave at a time. So if you know of a woman that's about to have an abortion, talk her out of it. That's just one individual at a time. That will make a difference.
Yeah, here's the other problem we have. Back in early Christianity, in early centuries of the church, I mean, this was very common practice. Slavery was common. The killing of children was very common. They were sacrificed to gods. A whole litany of issues. I'm afraid the mindset has been very similar here in our own country right now, where this has become, unfortunately, over the past 30, 40 years, ingrained into the psyche of people, and there's generations of kids being brought up thinking that this is okay. Of course, it goes against natural law, so in our hearts we know this is wrong. But the mindset today, I think people have become so desensitized that even when I talk about it, people are like, oh, you talk about it too much. I don't think you can talk about this enough. I think we need to be constantly vigilant and articulate and do all we can to change the culture and to inform the populace at large. If we don't, you know, we're going to reap what we sow.
I agree, Drew, and I think that talking about it is not enough. We need action. We need concerted action. We need a new era of individuals, just like the early Christian martyrs, that are willing to do absolutely anything, and go all the way to change society. I think that's what we need. We need renewed evangelism. We need new fervent Christians out there working to expand the teachings that have been brought down to us from the Christian heritage.
Grace, always a pleasure talking with you. And again, thank you for the great work you're doing. Our series, Our Graceful Heritage, will continue. You can check in every Tuesday at this time for Dr. Grace Voto. Actually, it's every other Tuesday. You can check her. And if you missed any of the conversation, you can also go to our archives at relevantradio.com and download a copy of the conversation and share it with others. Your article will be coming out later in the week in the Times, so I hope folks will check that out. And, of course, if you go to relevantradio.com, keyword Drew, we'd love to talk to you there as well. Hey, Grace, God bless you. Keep up the great work, okay?
Thank you, Drew, and God bless you and your wonderful audience.
All right, stay on the line. I know Cassie wants to say hello to you as well.